So tell me, where do you see yourself in 5 years' time? How are you going to answer this question in your next interview? Now, if you don't know or you haven't thought about it, then don't worry, it's why I created this video. I'm going to share 3 example answers, plus some key interview tips and tricks so that you can quickly come up with an answer that's attractive to your interviewer. In order to do this, you need to make sure that you cover 2 key areas in your answer. So let's jump in. I'm Amri Celeste, your interview coach. So this question is a little different to most. It's not assessing your competencies, so it's not a competency-based interview question. It's not asking you to talk about a time when you did something to demonstrate a skill or a situation, so it's not a situational interview question, and it's also not asking about your behaviors or your attitude, so it's not a behavioral interview question either. If you do struggle with any of those, you can watch any of these 3 videos covering those topics. So I call this an explorative interview question. It's not an official term, but it's exploring your long-term career goals and aspirations, and so the interviewer is still assessing your suitability for the job, but in relation to your long-term plan and if you've given any thought to it. So like I said earlier, there are 2 key things that the interviewers want to hear in your answer. So one is whether or not you have promotion-based aspirations, and 2 is which area or areas of the role you want to specialize and grow in. So what specifically interests you. Now be aware that sharing that you're angling for a promotion can work against you, but it can also work for you. So how do you know what to share? Well, you need to pay close attention to the type of role and what they are asking for. So if they're looking for character traits like ambition or an entrepreneurial spirit or innovation or trailblazer, those are the types of skills that align with them wanting to see that you have thought about your career path and that you might be considering something like a promotion. Now, if it's a more steady long-term role like a support role, or one where the tasks are less geared towards management or leadership, or they just tell you straight on the job description that they want someone to stay in the role long-term, then of course sharing that you want to be promoted within a year might work against you. So in that case, you can simply just share that you are passionate about staying in that position. Actually stating, I want to stay at this level for a period of time, makes a massive difference, and it can be the difference between an offer and a rejection. Now look out for these versions of the question as well. What is your career plan? What are your future career plans? What is your ideal career? Or what are your plans for the future? Or any questions about career goals and aspirations. Also, what are your long-term career goals, which I answer in this video. So that question is a little different because there's no time frame associated with it, but you can watch that video for more detail. So here's an example answer to where do you see yourself in 5 years' time. I'm using a retail assistant role in this example. So here's the first part of the answer. In the next 5 years, I hope to build a solid foundation in my career as a retail assistant. If I'm selected for this position, I'd love to develop my skills and knowledge in all aspects of retail, like customer service, inventory management, visual merchandising, and sales techniques. So this first part of the answer would briefly demonstrate your knowledge of the industry and also some of the areas that are specific to what's included in your role, and you're packaging it as a group of areas that you want to increase your knowledge in. Now remember I mentioned specializing as well earlier. Well, that is an example of how you can do that in your interview. For your interview, you can just do a little online digging beforehand to make sure that you understand industry terminology so that your answer comes out completely polished. So here's the next part of the answer. Ultimately, my goal is to grow and advance my career within the retail industry, and for me that means ideally staying at this level in this type of role for some time before I consider more senior opportunities. However, I'm excited about the possibility of working for a company that values its employees and provides opportunities for professional development. So here you're expanding a little more, you're reiterating on your commitment to stay in the role for a period of time and adding in 2 areas that attracted you about the company. So that's a great way to just sneak in company praise and link it with your future development. If you're still watching, clicking like and leaving a comment is a huge help to the channel. Now, if you've already had great results, then you can also buy me a coffee. There's a link showing you how to do that in the description below this video. So part 3 of the answer is, as I gain experience and expertise, I would like to take on more responsibilities and potentially move up within the company. For instance, I would be interested in exploring opportunities for leadership roles or specialized positions such as visual merchandiser, sales manager, or store manager. So now you're getting into the specifics of where you might like to be in 5 years' time and including more about leadership and specialization. So one of the mistakes I see here is not demonstrating passion or enthusiasm. I've seen this question answered in the most lackluster way, and it's super important to keep up your levels of energy and interest when you're talking about a future with the company. Now, here's another quick example answer to where do you see yourself in 5 years' time. I'm going to use a different role this time. I'm going to go for an HR assistant. Although I can't gauge 5 years specifically, I definitely see myself creating a strong foundation in my career over the next 5 years. If I were to get this job as an HR assistant, I would want to gain all the skills necessary to move up in my career over time and perhaps one day be a senior member of HR with management responsibilities, for example, leadership skills and an understanding of the strategic side of HR. Even HR partnering would be a huge help in my career. So there you're highlighting your desire to learn and grow within the company. You're showing a commitment to the job and an interest in new challenges as well. Now, have you ever struggled to answer the interview question, what is your biggest achievement? Tell me about a time when you solved a problem, or how do you handle pressure at work? Then get a copy of this free guide covering the top 20 interview questions and answers. I'm going to put a link to that in the description box below this video. So now I'm going to give you some extra value so you can just see how this answer works in another situation for an IT manager. So in 5 years' time, I see myself in a senior IT management role in an innovative, forward-thinking organization so I can utilize my experience and knowledge of the IT industry to provide strategic direction and guidance to the organization, as well as ensure the effective organizational management of IT systems and resources. I envision myself leading a team of highly skilled IT professionals, managing all aspects of IT operations, and ensuring that the technology used is reliable and secure. I will be responsible for developing, implementing, and optimizing all IT policies, procedures, and systems. Additionally, I will be responsible for researching and evaluating new technologies, as well as overseeing the development and maintenance of a comprehensive IT infrastructure. In addition to managing the IT operations, I will actively be involved in the organization's overall business strategy. I see myself as an integral part of the organization's business growth, not just in terms of IT, but also in terms of developing and implementing strategies to increase the organization's market share and profitability. And finally, I want to be involved in the organization's efforts to give back to the community. It's important for me to be a part of a company that is dedicated to creating a positive impact on the world around them. Now, that example is at a management level so that you can see the range. Now, I hope that you found this helpful. Let me know, leave a comment and a like, and let me know what interview you have coming up. I try to be super active in the comment section, so I will see you in the next video.